So as promised, I am going to go line by line through every part of the Make Homeschool Safe Act about what it means and my own personal opinions on it. Now, I've said this before, because I am a former public school teacher who was once very against homeschooling myself, I feel like I have kind of a different perspective when it comes to the Make Homeschool Safe Act. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with number one, and that is that homeschool children deserve to be safe at home. You can go through and read this on your own, but in a nutshell, what this is saying is that people who have been convicted of certain crimes are not allowed to homeschool under this law. Now, of the things that this bill is proposing, this is one that when you read it at first, it's like, well, yeah, of course I agree with that. We don't want child abusers homeschooling their kids. That makes sense, right? Let's read a little further. It's this part right here. People convicted of specific violent crimes, including those against children. So we're not specifying what is the violent crime. Like, did dad get in a bar fight 5 years ago and went to jail for assault? Like, what does that mean exactly? Should that family not be allowed to homeschool because of that? And then as we read a little further, no one can withdraw a child from school to homeschool them within 3 years of a child abuse or neglect investigation. Now, you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal about that? Any good parent shouldn't have an open investigation on them anyways. But I will tell you that when I was a teacher, we would have Child Protective Service investigations opened up on families all the time. And it was usually a matter of like a messy divorce or something where mom is calling Child Protective Services on dad or dad's calling on mom just because they're disgruntled and they're trying to stir the pot. A lot of times these would go unfounded. So when we put a clause in like this that says just because an investigation was opened on you, now you can't homeschool for 3 years, that seems a little extreme in my opinion. Now, I am 100% on board with not allowing people to homeschool who have been charged with crimes against children, especially this one right here. That is a hard no for me. You can also read this part right down here where it says why it matters. The goal with this is that children shouldn't be isolated with an abuser in the form of a homeschool parent, which I think we can all agree with. And even kids that are going to public school full-time still might be in these situations where there is an abusive household. The most dangerous abusers are the ones who know how to hide it well. So whether the kid is in public school, private school, homeschool, this is always a sad possibility. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one and follow along because I'm going to be hitting number 2 next.